So let's jump into example 1, going through our steps, seeing how it works. We're going to solve a trinomial. So for example 1, you're starting off with x squared plus 5x minus 14 equals 0. So like I said, step 1 is already taken care of for you. You don't have to do that one. Let's go straight to the factoring. Don't worry about this equal to 0. Just pretend like this is all you see, like you have been for the past couple of days. So my A is 1, my B is positive 5, my C is negative 14. Set up your x, negative 14, positive 5. I need factors of 14 that will give me a positive 5. Now I know this is where a lot of y'all are slowing down because it takes you some time. But because of time, I'm going to go ahead and tell you what the numbers are, but you'll have plenty of practice on your own. So I know that my factors of 14, I can use the 7 and 2, but because this is a negative, that means that one of these numbers has to be a negative as well. Well, if I have a positive 5, that means that if I subtract 2, that gives me a positive 5. 7 times negative 2 gives me negative 14. 7 minus 2 gives me positive 5. Let's keep on going. Set up your box. My first term goes in the first box. Then I put in my numbers that I got from the x. And then my c goes in the bottom box. Find your GCF. Now I'm going to move fast through this because by now we've been doing this for a couple of days. You know the steps, okay? So my GCF of 1 and negative 2 is just 1. Between the x is just x. My GCF between 7 and 14 is 7. My GCF between 1 and 7 is 1. Between the x's is x. My GCF between the 2 and the 14 is 2. But because that's a negative 2, I got to make my GCF a negative 2. All right? So now we factored it. Take your GCFs, write them as binomials. Now, this is where you are at step 3. You're going to take your two binomials and set them equal to 0. You have to do that. It's not going to be done for you. Now that you've set these two binomials equal to 0, we can move on to number 4 and use that zero product property. And that basically means you're going to draw a line and you're going to separate the two binomials and set them both equal to 0. So that gives me x plus 7 is equal to 0, x minus 2 is equal to 0. Solve. My solutions are negative 7 and positive 2. So that's what I mean by we're putting everything together. This is what we did earlier in 10.6. This is what we did in 10.5. All I did was just put the two concepts together to get my answer. All right, let's try another one. Don't know how much time. See if I can get letter B in here. Letter B is 5x squared minus 2x minus 7 equals 0. Again, it's given to you. So now all we have to do is just factor. My A is 5, my B is negative 2, my C is negative 7. So when I set up my x, 5 and negative 7, when I multiply, I get negative 35. And then my B goes down here. So again, you may have to take the time to figure out your factors of 35 and which one of them, if you subtract, gave you a 2. Well, I already know what they are. It's 7 and 5. Because this is a negative 2, I have to subtract the negative 7. Because if you subtract the 5, that gives you a positive 2. So negative 7 times 5 gives me the negative 35. Negative 7 plus 5 gives me the negative 2. Let's keep on going. Set up your box. All right, first term goes to the first box. Take your x's. Last term goes in the last box. Let's do our GCF. Well, the GCF in 5 and 5 is just 5. For my x's, it's x. The GCF between 7 and 7 is just 7. But because this is a negative, I got to put a negative on the box. Let's go across. The GCF between 5 and 7 is just 1. And then for my x's, it's just x. And then the same thing here. My GCF between these two is just 1. All right? Put them together. There's my two binomials. Set them equal to 0. All right, now we're at step 4. Take your line, divide, separate the two binomials, and then rewrite them to equal 0. All right? Now, you're going to get a decimal. Don't sweat it. 5x equals 7. Your first solution is 7/5. And I'm not going to tell you where that came from. Y'all should know that by now. I mean, we're in quarter 4. And my second solution is -1. The next video